This is pre-calculus, notes on 1.6, writing an arithmetic sequence explicitly. The objective, students will be able to write an arithmetic sequence recursively and explicitly. And here I have an arithmetic sequence written recursively. Okay. The sequence below is shown in recursive form. List the first 6 terms. Okay. This is arithmetic. I know it is arithmetic because I'm taking the previous term and I'm adding 3. All right, so in my table, I'm going to fill in the first 6 terms. So we know that the first term is -5. And then to get the next term, I'm going to add 3 to that. So -5 plus 3 is -2, plus 3 is +1, plus 3 is 4, plus 3 is 7, plus 3 is 10. Okay, so here we've got an example of an arithmetic sequence that was defined recursively. Okay, here it was defined recursively. Okay, so now what I've got is another problem where I'm showing you a arithmetic sequence that is defined explicitly. Now, an explicit formula gives the equation in terms of the term number, not in terms of the previous term. So let me just write that down. Recursive is by the previous term, whereas explicit is by the term number. All right, so in this formula, we don't have a use of n-1. We have an n is the term number. Okay, so I'm going to plug the term number into the formula. So I've got, I might need to expand this page to make sure you understand how I'm doing this. Okay, there we go. So I've got a 1 I'm going to plug into the formula. So u sub 1 is equal to -5 plus 1 minus 1 times 3. Okay? 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. And so u sub 1, my first term, is -5. Okay? If I plug a 2 in, the second term, I've got -5 plus 2 minus 1 times 3. 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. -5 plus 3 is -2. To find the third term, I'm going to plug 3 into the formula. So I have -5 plus 3 minus 1 times 3, which gives me -5 plus 2 times 3, which is equal to -5 plus 6, which is equal to 1. Okay? Now I'm going to stop writing it out because by now I'm hoping that you see how to use the formula to find each term. So to find the fourth term, I've got 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 minus 5 is 4. Okay, to find the fifth term, 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. And to find the sixth term, 6 minus 1 is 5. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 and -5 is 10. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to take a look at these the same, but the formulas that we use to get them are different. So over here, we had a recursively defined formula, and it's recursive because it was defined in terms of u sub n minus 1, the previous term. Here, we have an explicit formula, and it's explicit because we use the term number. So the term number n. Okay? They both gave us exactly the same sequence, and they're both the exact same arithmetic sequence. Okay, so we have two formulas to write an arithmetic sequence. The recursive in terms of the previous term. The previous term is u sub n minus 1. And explicit in terms of the term number. The term number is n. All right, I've got a problem. For the given sequence, write both a recursive and an explicit formula. All right, so I'm going to start out with recursive. Remember that there are 3 steps to writing the recursive. We're going to start with listing the first term. U sub 1 equals 1. And then we're going to write a recursive formula. And a recursive formula is in terms of the previous term. So here I am adding 2 each time. So I've got the previous term plus 2, and then the domain is n is greater than or equal to 2. Now I'm going to do the explicit. Okay. The explicit, I'm going to use this formula. I'm going to use this formula here for the explicit, okay? The common difference is 2. The first term is 1, and I'm just going to plug into that formula. So I've got u sub n is equal to the first term plus n minus 1 times d. Okay. The first term is 1. I'm going to do n minus 1. I'm not plugging anything in for n. I'm leaving n in the formula. And since the common difference is 2, I put a 2 there. All right, so that's in recursive form. It's not necessarily in simplest form. You could distribute the 2 and then combine like terms. As a matter of fact, let me just do that. Depending upon the way the question is worded, you might want to do that. Let me distribute that 2 to both terms. And then combine like terms. Okay. There's an explicit formula. All right, 2 more problems. You might want to pause this and give these a try by yourself. I'm just going to wait just a second, and then I'm going to show the answers. All right, problem number 2. For the given sequence, write both a recursive and an explicit formula. All right, so recursive. The first term, u sub n is equal to u sub n minus 1. All right, and it looks like we are adding 14 to each term. So plus 14 for n greater than or equal to 2. Now explicit. Okay, remember we are using this formula. U sub n is equal to u sub 1 plus n minus 1 times the common difference. We're substituting in u sub 1 and d. Okay, that's all we need to know. We're just substituting them in. So I've got 9 plus n minus 1 times 14. To put that in simplest form, distribute, and then combine like terms. Oh, I messed that up. Hold on 1 second. So this should be 14n minus 14. Combine like terms. There we go. Again, next problem. Recursive and explicit. It looks like the next problem we are adding 3. So the common difference is 3. So I have recursive. Use of 1 is 4. Use of n is equal to the previous term plus 3 for all n greater than or equal to 2. And then explicit. Use of n is equal to use of 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So that would be 4 plus n minus 1 times 3. The common difference is 3. I'm going to distribute the 3 and then combine like terms. Okay, that's it for that video.